Associates. For more information, go to www.rpurham.com. Hey, good day to you all. Welcome to Purham Associates. I'm your host, Randy Purham. Hey, we got a very let me. I hope you all had a great weekend and all that good stuff. And it was my birthday weekend. I had a great time, and thank you all for the birthday wishes and everything else. Happy birthday, Texas as well. This is your birthday weekend, so we was popping it off and all that good stuff. So we do what we do. Texas, big, doing it big, doing it big. And but a lot was going on this weekend. But that's the news. Everything's always a lot of stuff always going on. Zelensky was acting a fool at the White House and got his PP slapped. So now he's begging to come back and make a deal, and Trump is like, "Nah, we're not gonna make a deal right now." So it is what it is. But anywho, we got a very special guest with us today, and I'm looking forward to talking with him because it's very, very, very important that he get his message out, and I'm going to give him the floor to do that today because he is none other than Lucas Denney, and Lucas Denney is a Christian U.S. Army combat veteran. I say who, and with the military police, and little do he know, we are actually MOS rivals. We're gonna get into that here when I bring him on. He's a father of two and a former J6 hostage. Lucas Denney lost almost everything due to his political persecution, and we're gonna get into all of that here coming up in the next minute. But folks, I'm gonna tell you right now, for those that understand the trials and tribulations of the J6ers, this is gonna probably be an emotional moment for all of us. So I'm gonna ask you to not to get too riled up. We're gonna try to keep this, although serious, but lighthearted at the same time, to keep our emotions at bay, because this is still a very sensitive time for a lot of us that's dealing with this directly and indirectly. Because I know a lot of J6ers that not only lost their lives but lost everything, and this is one of them. So without further ado, introducing to some and presenting to others, Mr. Lucas Denney. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show. How you doing today?
I'm good. It's a good morning in Texas, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Luke, I I saw that you're MP. I'm chemical. So I said, we're rivals. We're just natural born, MOS rivals. Because where'd you go to basic at, or
I went to
AIT
basic
rather?
at Fort. Yeah, I went to basic and AIT at the same place in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri,
Okay, okay,
and then I ended up getting stationed at Fort Hood and served in Iraq 2005 and 2006.
okay. So yeah, we kind of trekked the same courses then, because
Yeah.
I actually went to Fort McClellan for
Okay.
my, yeah. So I'm the old school 54 Bravo era. Then it changed over to 74 Delta, and
I think that's where the MPs used to go a while
yeah,
back.
yep, yeah. They was
Yeah.
yeah. The MPs are right next door to us. So at night, at night when the drill sergeants went home and we just had the duty drills. The duty drills would kind of like be beefing back and forth a little bit, and then we'll be in the bays yelling at each other back and forth across the windows, and then we'll go down into the CTA and we'll fight in the parking lot.
Yeah,
It was all a good spirit. It was just a good fun. We just having fun,
good
just
times.
rousing, yeah, rousing around a little bit, and and then coming to Fort Hood, I was stationed at Fort Hood as well, and so we see the MPs, the MP Brigade, 89th MP Brigade was
That's who I was with.
yep, yep. I was in Second Kim Battalion, so
Okay.
it was like a couple of build. Their barracks was a couple of buildings over from ours at the time, and we used to get into little scuffles with them in the motor pools and stuff like that. So we got I guess you could say a little history.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Some good stuff there. Yeah. So where were you at in Iraq?
I was well, back then it was a top secret fob. It was called Camp Ashraf.
Okay.
It's not top secret no more, of course, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was about an hour west of Balad, Camp Anaconda, I think.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
Anaconda.
about
Yeah.
30 miles from the Iranian border.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Anaconda. I know Anaconda. I did a couple of FOB missions to Anaconda because I was out at camp. What was that? Camp. What was the name of it? 03. It was right by. We was right across here from Camp Liberty. I can't remember the name of it now because I was there three different locations. But we was in. Yeesh. It was camp. We was right across the street from Camp Liberty. It was in the green zone there, but we was running back then. It wasn't the green zone, but it later became the
Right.
green zone. But we used to run missions up to Camp Anaconda and all that good stuff. And so yeah, it was good stuff. Good stuff. But Luke, tell us. I want to get into your story, and ladies and gentlemen, for those that are watching. Those that are watching, you see down the ticker below there. This is his Cash App, dollar sign Never Surrender 1977, and his GiveSendGo.com /save Luke. Some you might have to put the question mark at the end, but when you do, the question mark is not there or it like goes away. But if you put it in there, it you don't have to put it in there, and so just for clarity there. But Luke, tell us you went to the Capitol on January 6, 2021, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
You went to Washington D.C. You said, "You know what? I'm going to go take a trip to Washington D.C." Flew out probably January 5th, January 4th, right? And
Uh-huh.
said I want to go to Washington D.C. and go on vacation. Check out some stuff. Go from there. What happened?
So I've been really passionate years before that on community service and protecting people and helping the communities. I was at Hurricane Harvey when down in Houston, Texas, when it flooded. Did a lot of border work down at the ranch when Biden came in and completely opened up the borders. The ranchers called us and wanted me and my friends help. So, and then when you had all the riots after that, you remember the riots, the 4 years of riots when Trump was president the first time. We were out protecting people. We were out trying to protect our history from being torn down and stuff. So I've been passionate always about helping the communities and protecting our people from
Mm-hmm.
people who want to attack others. So when I went to January 6th, I knew there was a lot of post on social media that all Antifa was going to be there, and they were going to attack anybody that showed up. So I went to January 6th because I wanted to hear Trump speak. I believe with all my heart, just like millions of others, that the 2020 election was stolen. And if you investigate it more, you can see the numbers and find that out for yourself. So I wanted to go see President Trump speak and then peacefully protest at the Capitol afterwards. The certification. A lot of us were calling for a 10-day suspension of the certification because we wanted uh, a real investigation into that. So basically, I went prepared. I went prepared for Antifa attacks to attack me or other people, and I went to hear Trump and to peacefully protest at the Capitol afterwards.
Okay. And you know I'm glad you mentioned. I'm glad you mentioned the peaceful protesting piece aspect of it because the media, the mainstream media narrative that's out there is that he was calling for to go storm the Capitol and go down there and make
Yeah.
your voices heard and all this stuff that we now know is not true. And interestingly, this morning I was sitting down eating breakfast, and I'm a subscriber to Hillsdale College Empress, their scholarly articles that comes out monthly, and just so ironically, it's so weird. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're not a subscriber, I highly recommend that you become one. I'm not promoting Hillsdale College, but I am. But the January 2025 volume 54 number one. This article is actually written by a fellow Texan, John Daniel Davison. He is a senior editor at the Federalist Papers. He went where he covers politics, immigration, culture, and religion. And he is a 2024 graduate of Hillsdale College and a former senior fellow at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. There is more about his bio, but anyways, the article was actually about what we know and what we don't know about January 6th. This is the latest article. And for those that say, "Oh, Randy, you full of crap," here's a like all the other like articles I get in the mail. So, anyways, I hate when I have to come on and and like prove my point. So, but anyway, as I was reading the article, I'm not going to read the whole entire article because it is like 5 pages long, Luke. But I highlighted some key points here that you just touched on, and I'm gonna bounce around here. But you did mention that the about Trump's reaction and his call to like peacefully protest and everything else. So going fast forward a little bit because I got some other points highlighted previously to that. In some instances, the select committee showed a blatant disregard for facts. It claimed, for example, that Trump was aware of violence at the Capitol for more than 3 hours, 187 minutes to be exact, before he took action to intervene. Cheney, speaking of Liz Cheney, referred to this as a supreme declaration of duty. But in fact, according to a timeline of events compiled by the New York Times and corroborated by the Washington Post, no more than 25 minutes passed between the reported breach of the Capitol at 2:13 p.m. and Trump's first tweet addressing the situation at 2:38 p.m. when he wrote, "Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on our side of our country. Stay peaceful." About 30 minutes later, Trump again took to Twitter to address the demonstrators. "I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you." So, the Trump addressed the crowd and then encouraged them to march to the U.S. Capitol to protest peacefully and patriotically. Trump never incited the audience or suggested anything other than peaceful demonstrations. Indeed, many of the protests, many of those present, at the ellipse had applied for and been issued permits by the Capitol Police to stage events and host speakers on the Capitol U.S. grounds that day, a common enough occurrence in Washington, D.C. Before Trump had even finished speaking, a separate and much smaller group had already gathered at the Capitol and breached the first set of outdoor barriers. Now, Luke, I want to ask you at this juncture here, were you at the ellipse or were you already like heading to the Capitol when the breach had already started to occur?
Well, I was at the Lips for a while. I left right before he, I think, got done with his speech. Everybody started headed there. So I probably wasn't there at the very beginning. But so my story is when I was going there, I was one of the among the first that walked there from the Lips. Um, so what I saw was a low police presence. There wasn't very many police there at all, which shocked me because there was over 1 million people there that day, and
Mm,
so I was just shocked not a lot of police presence. The ones that were there were dressed in all black. Um, and we showed up, and right when I'm walking up in front of the crowd in front of me, that's when, like, all of a sudden, man, without one, it was when I saw where I was, it was a peaceful protest. People were just standing there, they were holding their flags, everybody was yelling and talking, just like normally you would at a protest. And then I remember walking up and looking around, and all of a sudden I seen these the initial police presence that was there. They started, all of them at once started doing something. You had a couple of them throwing CS gas into the crowds, and they weren't just throwing them in the front. They were throwing them. They were chunking them way out there.
Mm,
And then you had a
yeah,
couple more throwing flashbangs, and they were
yeah.
chunking them way out in the crowds. And it was disorientating people, and it was riling everybody up. And it was. And then you had more, and then you had a couple more that were on each side that were shooting people with non-lethal rounds with rubber bullets, and pepper balls, and and then you had them. Then you had them over. There was little bike racks, and then you had them hitting people and beating people over the shoulders and head over the bike racks. So I am pro police. I was a military policeman. My dad was a 27-year old retired out of the Dallas Police Department. And so I grew up with police. I'm not anti-police. Our party is pro police, right? But so when I talk bad about this initial police presence, I'm not talking bad about all police, right? But these initial police presence that was there started the whole thing. And if they wouldn't have done what they did, that whole thing you saw on January 6th would not have happened, in my opinion.
And it's interesting that you're bringing that point up because in this same article it says here perhaps the most puzzling of all was the Capitol Police Board's failure to request National Guard assistance prior to January 6th, which, according to a separate bipartisan Senate report, meant that the District of Columbia National Guard was not activated, staged, and prepared to quickly respond to an attack on the Capitol. The failure stands out in part because Trump himself, in the days leading up to January 6th, was adamant that 10,000 National Guard troops to be deployed ahead of that day, a fact Cheney concealed by hiding an interview transcript produced by the Select Committee. Trump's request for troops was not only ignored by Pelosi and Bowser, it was also met with resistance at the Pentagon, which delayed the deployment of the National Guard and then covered it up. The OIG report also revealed for the first time that the FBI had 26 confidential human sources or informants in the crowd that day. Most of them went on their own initiative, according to the report, and three went into the U.S. Capitol, a crime for which many otherwise law-abiding January 6th defendants were sentenced to lengthy prison terms. Incredibly, one of the FBI informants who entered the Capitol was reimbursed by the FBI for his travel expenses to and from Washington. Lucas, were you reimbursed for your travel by your job for going to Washington?
Nope. Yeah, that'd be nice, though, buddy. I'll tell you what, I could use that right now.
Ain't that something? And, the idea that the FBI had informants at the Capitol that day was previously denounced as a conspiracy theory. Now, before I go on with this, I wanted to ask you while you were there, uh, based on your position in the crowd and the projectiles being thrown and everything else, did you notice like members of Antifa there, or any like suspected like FBI informants or any law enforcement that was like undercover in the crowds there?
I did not notice any of that, and it shocked me, and it shocked everybody else that an Antifa presence. They were all black. We're used to seeing that, right?
Hmm.
So that we did not see any of that there. I did not see any of that there. But it came to light later that they were there, but they were dressed in MAGA gear, Trump gear,
Hmm.
and stuff. So, but I didn't see any when I was there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're if they're undercover and blending in, they were pretty good at it. Uh,
Yeah, I have actual footage. So at the time when January 6th was kicking off, I was getting footage and actually did a full like documentary type of deal, show with video compilations of Antifa changing in the bushes, some buses pulling up on the side of the Capitol, and it was being escorted off the buses and
yeah.
directed changing clothes and everything else, and being escorted on the other side of the building and being staged. And so you see all that, and then this article here actually addresses Ray Epps. Ray Epps, a man who is suspected of being an FBI informant and who was at the heart of the events of January 6th, lied to Congress about his movements when the Select Committee had him testify in an attempt to clear his name after footage emerged of him urging a crowd to storm the Capitol. Epps told committee members that he never entered the Capitol. And it goes on in some little minor detail about where he actually was in the Capitol, and like how he was there for like 30 minutes and all that. But the article ends is saying the mysteries surrounding Epps is in some ways representative of everything we still don't know about January 6th. And to be clear, the reason we don't know is that efforts to get the truth have been actively thwarted. Until that changes, until we know all the basic facts about that day, Americans will have no reason to be confident that justice has been served. I find this to be very poignant and succinctly written because there's been consternation about why Trump released all 1,500 plus J6ers, just on a whim like that without, saying, okay, let's do this on a case by case basis, like he initially said. And I was like, I was okay with that. I was like, okay, yeah, let's look at it case by case, because some people did some things that they shouldn't have been doing, and then some,
Yeah.
unjustly were, arrested and everything else. But then he was just like, nope, let them all go. Screw this. And I was like, okay, hey, I'm good with that too. But and we see why. It's because it was like there was a lot of corruption surrounding, you guys and how you were treated and handled and everything else. So I want you to get into how you were treated and how, like, from the day you got, like, talk to us about like how what led to you getting arrested and your treatment from there forward.
So I was arrested. Well, first of all, I gotta say, I think one of the main reason that he let all of us pardon and go is because he knows, just like millions of other Americans know, that that day was a setup. And if you look at all the evidence on that, from no troops, no National Guard troops, to Nancy Pelosi having her daughter there ready to do the thing that she was documentary that she was doing, everything. That day was a lobster trap. It was a setup, and they did it on purpose just to go after Trump and to squash the MAGA movement. That is what they did, just like the Russian hoax and all that stuff. Now, so justice was served by getting us out of prisons and stuff, because it was all bull. And so
Yeah.
they arrested me
Yeah.
11 months after they arrested me 11 months after January 6th. I was down there at the border, Texas Mexico border, helping ranchers down there and their families with a bunch of friends. And so they came down there and took me in and threw me in a jail in Del Rio, Texas, and threw me in solitary confinement. So I was there for over 30 days, and then they finally transferred me to Grady County. So, well, let me go back to Del Rio real quick. That's where it all started. So I take medicine for my PTSD and anxiety and stuff, right, from the VA. They denied me my medicine the whole time I was there in solitary confinement. So I started getting really, really sick, like vertigo and just throwing up, real bad dizziness. So I got real sick. So then they transferred me to Oklahoma, to a Grady County, Oklahoma jail, which that place, man, they didn't feed me a lot. It was hardly any food. It was just a nasty place that should be shut down. And then I was there for over 30 days. And then they fly me into Northern Neck, Virginia, or not, it was Warsaw, Virginia, but Northern Neck Regional Jail. And that place, man, that place is a dungeon, and it should be shut down. The way they treated us, was like dogs. So they had food. The food that they were pulling out of boxes to feed us said not for human consumption. I still haven't had no medicine at all this time. I'm still sick, no medicine. They're feeding us. We have a mouse poop in our food, mouse piss in our food that are sticking to the cereal and stuff like that. It was a horrible place to be. It was a dungeon, and uh, so here's another thing. They still haven't charged me with anything. I'm the only J6er that they held for so long with no charges. So they held me for over 85 days with no charges. They took me out of Texas illegally because I didn't have any charges. So I had a lawyer come in and finally said, I got a new lawyer, Bill Shipley, and he said, you shouldn't even be in jail right now because you're being held illegally. You haven't even been charged with anything, and it's been over 85 days. And so he put in for my immediate release. So instead of the judge immediately releasing me, the judge says, well, I'll release him, but I want to see him here and I'll release him from court. And this was a magistrate judge in D.C. And so what the judge was doing was he was giving enough time to let the prosecution know what was going on so they could hurry up and get an indictment so he couldn't release me. That way he could keep me in jail. So in transport, they hurried up and got one indictment. I had 13 criminal complaints, I believe. So they hurried up and got one indictment just to keep me in jail. And it was a bad indictment. First of all, it wasn't even legal, in my opinion, because I was being held illegally at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, so they kept me in jail, and they wanted me to plead not guilty to the case or to that indictment. So it was a bad indictment. It was assault on a federal officer with a dangerous weapon, which was completely ridiculous. There's no video evidence showing anything like that. I never beat anybody, hit anybody. So they wanted me to plead not guilty because the judge was going to dismiss the case without prejudice, and that was going to give them the opportunity to give a whole do-over and come back at me with all these other criminal complaints again, right? So me and my lawyer talked about it, and we said he thought the best thing to do was for me to plead guilty to it because by pleading guilty, they can't come back at me with them other charges, right?
Right.
So I ended up because it would have been double jeopardy then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I ended up pleading guilty to that charge because of that. That's the only reason I pled guilty, so they couldn't come back at me. And they were in shock. At first, the judge didn't even want to accept my guilty plea. He was like, oh, well, I got to look into this a little bit more. So it went like days before
Wow.
he accepted the guilty plea.
Son
Yeah,
of
it was crazy what they did to me, but they got away with it.
son of a. Let me ask you, on a kind of a personal note, have your VA benefits been restored?
No, I'm still having problems with that.
Okay.
I'm still having problems. They're dragging their feet on that.
Okay. Okay. We'll get into that.
They took that away from me, as you
Right.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You know, it's crazy because you was held for 85 days without charges, which you're right, that is illegal because in tech, well, not even just in Texas, federally, you can be held more than 72 hours without charges, and you went 85 days. So
Yeah.
that by itself was a violation of your constitutional rights, and they should have just automatically just say, you know what, our bad, go home, have a nice life, and you have standing to sue the federal government for this.
Yeah.
So is this something that you're looking into, or you just want to just walk away and pick up the pieces and
Oh,
go about
there
your
ain't no
life?
way I'm gonna walk away. There's no way I'm walking away for what they did to me. Yeah. Uh,
Good
so it's
answer.
been
Good
real
answer.
hard to find. Yeah, it's been real hard to find a lawyer that will step up and be brave and not be a coward to take a lawsuit against them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my lawyer just contacted me the other day, said he was going to be trying to do something. So we'll see what happens there. But another thing, what happened to me while we're on the subject
Hmm.
of that is, man, I had full custody of my kids. I was the primary caregiver for my kids, and I've been raising them. I was a full time dad, been raising them since they were in diapers. They're teenagers now. But right after my arrest, their mom went and got full custody of them. Not only did she get full custody of them, which I can see that happening because I was in jail. but she took away all my rights. All the judge in Tarrant County, there's a judge in Tarrant County, or a Republican judge in Tarrant County, that went to the extreme factor of granting all my rights as a dad to be taken away. I have no rights to my kids right now. Still, I have no rights to my kids, and they completely took it away. And so uh, I lost everything in my home. I had people go over there and get as much as they could, but I was renting, so I mean, I lost everything, man. God saved my truck though, and I got to keep my dogs. My brother kept my dogs, but other than that, man, I mean, I lost everything, including the most important thing is my kids. And I still haven't seen them since I've been released because their mom was able to move them out of Texas and move them up to a far northern state.
Wow.
And I have no rights. And a Tarrant County Republican judge did that.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, and
Yeah.
it's really that's really unfortunate. And even with the full presidential pardon, that can't be reversed.
I tried to see a lawyer about that part, and he said it wouldn't even be worth it because my son's 18 now, for one, but my daughter is 16, and he said he was on my side too, and he said basically what's going to happen is she'll get a lawyer, and their lawyer will drag it out until my daughter's old enough to where it doesn't even matter no more. But I have no rights until then, and I don't have the money to pay a lawyer. It's good. It'll be about $5,000 to do something like that.
Wow,
Uh,
ladies and ladies and gentlemen, part of my Latin here, but y'all see the fuckery that's going on here, and this is something that requires not only national intervention, but state level intervention across counties and even across the states. Because as you just mentioned, the previous spouse took the daughters, took the kids to another state and everything else, and even with a presidential pardon, a lot of the stuff should be reversed. And I'm doing a shout out to Secretary of the VA. What's his name? Gosh, uh,
the
Doug
new one,
Collins.
I can't remember.
Doug Collins. I actually spoke with Doug Collins a few years back before he became the secretary. I call on Doug Collins to restore all veterans that were J6ers to restore their full VA benefits back to them and out of this injustice that they were given. And I hope that he is hearing this. I hope that those that are listening to this that may have some kind of connection to getting this message to him and they act on this because this is a very, very tragic situation. And a lot of these veterans that went to the Capitol on January 6th, they did this out of being a patriot and standing up for what
Yeah,
was right. And to go through all of this, and have their benefits stripped away unjustly at that, it's wrong. Period. Point blank. It's wrong. So there are second and third order effects that a lot of people on the civilian side don't understand that's going on. And this is one of those things. So I pray, I hope and pray that you are restored 100%, and that you see everything that you deserve given back to you.
and
What?
Randy, can I say something real quick?
Yes, please, absolutely.
So it doesn't matter. We were there. Millions of people were there because we love our country and we believe that the election was stolen in the United States of America, and it should never have happened. We weren't trying to turn the election over. We wanted investigations. We wanted because we just know. Another thing is, it doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you on. This should piss everybody off, including the Democrats, because this could happen to them.
Hmm.
It could happen to anybody. We're all Americans, and when your own government is coming after you like that, that's not right. And for them to throw us in solitary confinements and dungeons and to do what they did to us and take everything
Yeah.
and raid our homes. Let me tell you something. When I got arrested, my home was in Mansfield, Texas. When I was arrested down there, I was arrested down there at the border on one of the outside of one of the ranches there. Well, a day after my arrest, The FBI has me. I'm in custody. A day after my arrest, they go to my home in Mansfield and they still block off my neighborhood, go at my house knowing I'm in jail, not there, with a speaker yelling for me to come out at 4:30 in the morning to wake up all my neighbors. It trucks blocking the streets. I mean, you got to be kidding me. That's
Wow.
our FBI that did that. And they're just as crooked as the other parts of the government.
Wow. That was ridiculous. That's what
Every,
you call
yeah.
doing shock and awe. You know, they wanted to embarrass you, and knowing, like you just said, to your point, knowing that you were already in custody and everything. You know, they was like, well, let's further embarrass him. You know, with his neighbors, friends, families, and everything else, and do this to him. And that was a waste of resources. And we see right now, Doge.
Ways.
We see right now, Doge is in action going through. And oh, by the way, Cash Patel, if you're listening to brother, get them for that too. Fire them for that.
God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lucas, I want to ask you, going forward, what are you looking to get into next? Are you currently in the job market? Are you still, just trying to recover, personally, like just picking up the pieces, or are you what are you planning on doing next?
Man, I really want to keep serving my communities like I was before. I had a bunch of friends, and we always got together and served our communities in every way we could. So I always like to do that, and I like to do anything I can to help President Trump make our country good again. I have thought about getting in politics, maybe running for. I was thinking maybe U.S. Congress, but now I'm thinking after talking to some people at an event lately, maybe Texas could use me more than anything. And so I'm thinking about running for like the House of Representatives in Texas. Uh, but I'm not done yet, man. I'm not going to crawl into a hole and hide. And so I'm definitely going to be out there. You're going to see me. I'm going to be doing speaking events. I want to, if there's a speaking event anybody wants me to be at, I'll be more than happy to be there because the truth about January 6th has to be out because we were silenced for 4 years. I was in jail. And here's another thing. So I was in jail altogether, jail and prison, 37 months. I spent over 2 years, 26 months. They sent me. I have no criminal record. Uh, and I have no criminal record. I served my country in combat. And the judge, they sent me to the DOJ then. They sent me to where the Supermax is in Colorado. I was in the Supermax complex in a medium security prison right across the street from where they held a Chapo at in a violent medium security prison. I spent most of my time. I just got out on the 20th, the night he took office. So I've only been out a little over a month, but I spent all my time in there locked down in a little small bathroom because it's so violent. There's stabbings there. So this is what I had to go through for the last 37 months. Uh, but I'm not going back. I'm not going to go crawl in a hole and disappear after all this. The truth has got to get out there. We were silenced for 4 years, and I know many other J6ers are out there feeling the same, and they're doing the same. They're getting the truth out there, and you got to know it's the truth because you got thousands of, you got 1,600, not only 1,600 people that were arrested, but you got other witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
thousands of people that are saying that don't know each other that are saying the exact same
Same
thing on
thing.
what happened that day. We
Absolutely.
didn't have thousands of people. We didn't have a Zoom call and say, "Oh, we need to say this." I mean, strangers.
So so
Everybody says the same.
so Lucas. So what you're telling me is, Lucas, is that while y'all was in prison, y'all didn't get on the Zoom call and coordinate these stories.
We didn't have. Yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't have no Zoom calls in prison. I was in the bathroom.
Yeah, right. You're absolutely right, though. But everybody, seriously, America knows your story, and what the problem is, America's also complicit with the bullshit narrative. That's the other problem. There
Yeah.
a lot of people are complicit with the narrative that, oh, these J6ers, they stormed the Capitol and they caused the and Donald Trump caused the insurrection. And it's like I have to tell people. I'm like, I have to ask them. I say, guess what? Let me ask you something. If it was an insurrection, do you think people would be showing up to a Capitol with flags and and a say a bullhorn? No,
No
not,
guns.
not
Nobody
no
showed up.
gun. Yeah, no guns, no grenades, no like no knives or anything like that. It was not. It
Yeah.
was no intent to do war. Come on now. Let's be real. 'Cause, this wasn't 1776. This. If there was an intent to overthrow the government, to do anything ill will towards anybody in D.C., it would have looked a whole lot different. Believe me.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
It could have happened, but it did not because that was not the intent. And as we've seen both in not only the actual live footage that day, but also in the post reports that came out, that there were already people with ill intent already breaching the Capitol while actual Trump supporters were still at the ellipse. So
They had I heard after I got out of prison that it's already been confirmed that there was FBI agents inside of the Capitol building wearing Trump gear while the speech was still going on down at the ellipse, while Trump was still
exactly,
speaking before
exactly,
anybody got to the Capitol.
exactly.
It was a setup.
Yes, exactly. And so, like I said, America knows the story. Real American people who don't have blinders on, who are not falling for the BS, they know what the story is. And we thank Americans, we thank patriots like you that are still standing up, who are not saying, you know what, oh, I'm just going to go hide in a corner now. I'm out of jail, thank God. Okay, I'm just going to shut up now. We thank you and we salute you, sir, because we appreciate people like you that are still standing up and fighting. Uh, Lucas, how can people follow you and support you?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm on X. Lucas Denney. You can find me there, and you can follow me. I'm really heavily on. I'm posting everything on Facebook. Uh, so I'm on Lucas Denney. To support me, I mean, I could use from anywhere from you telling me that you support me, and to financial support because I am in a bad spot right now. I mean, I'm 47 years old and I'm living with my dad right now, and so I don't have a home no more. I have my truck and I have my dogs, and that's what I got. I've slowly been getting having people help me where I can buy clothes and stuff. Right now, I'm trying to save for a travel trailer. I want to get my own travel trailer at least, and then when I get hopefully some of these lawsuits win, maybe later I can get my own house again.
Yeah.
But right now, that's how I can use the support, just verbal and stuff. So
Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you're
and sharing my story. If people can share this interview right here, share it
yes.
out with everybody that you can, and get the word out. That's a patriotic duty of everyone out there. Is when you're seeing stories like this, mine and other J6ers, share it. Get the stories out there. Let everybody know what happened, what really happened on January 6th, and who was responsible, and what they did to us, our own people. Government should not be going after their own people. Government was built to protect us from the outside, from other countries, and to settle disputes between the states. We shouldn't have an ATF, an FBI, and these groups like that going after their own people. What happened to state rights? You know what I mean? I believe in state rights.
Absolutely, and I totally 1,000% concur with you there. And you're talking about running for office. I fully endorse and support that idea.
I
And
appreciate it.
we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk after this because
Yes, sir.
yes, yes. I can't. You got me excited for that. But thank you for being here today. And we're gonna get you out there, get your story going, and get you back on your feet and everything else. And God bless you, sir. And once again, thank you, and I salute you. And keep up
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
absolutely, it's a total pleasure. And be safe out there, and we'll be talking. So I'll talk to you soon, and God bless you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely, take care, ladies and gentlemen. That is Lucas Denney, former J6 prisoner. Hey, support, and share this show, share his story. Uh, you saw his donation links and everything else. Get his story out there. There's at least 1,500 more like him. So seek him out, And I had a story, another gentleman on a few months back who was actually a documentarian on the J6ers, and you can reach out, go back in the archives. I don't remember who that was. It's been a while, but go back in the archives on my show there, in my on Rumble there, pull that up, and it was the J6 Chronicles. You can Google that and pull that up and see who these folks are and get their stories out and revive that and reach out to these people and see where they're at, see how they need help and everything else, because this is an enduring task. Okay, this is going to be a one of those like forever projects. This is not something that's going to be like a one hitter quitter. This is going to be something that's going to take some years. And for people like him who lost his VA benefits, it's going to take a while. It may, hey, who knows? Doug Collins, Secretary Collins, hey, bro, hook him up, get him back in the system. Let's go. Come on, man, do the right thing. People like that. We need that. So, folks, I'm gonna jump up out of here. Yeah, it's sad times that we're living in. That we have to air our grievances. We have to exercise our First Amendment right in this regard to air our grievances and do a redress of these issues to our government to restore and have our fellow citizens made whole again. So, folks, like I said, I don't want to get into a soapbox, so I'm gonna shut up. All right. I'll talk to y'all on. I'll probably be back here on Friday. God willing, God bless. Y'all be safe and ciao, ciao. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in today. Please be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and share, and go to rpurham.com for more information. See you all soon. Take care. God bless.